Last episode we built the twisted draped corset shirt. Today we finish the story. We are draping and sewing the matching skirt, designed to move with the top, echo its details and complete the full picture. Welcome back, guys. So in the last episode we developed a twisted draped shirt, which is part of look 1 of my collection, and today we are going to create the skirt. So this is the look that I'm talking about, and the shirt has like a twisted sort of silhouette and it has a slanted placket on the side, and I want to carry on this twisting onto the skirt. So the draping is going to come to the side and it's going to feel like as if it was twisting around the knee, and then it's going to finish into this bubble hem. I'm not sure if I want to finish the bubble hem the same as I did on the shirt, where it had like a little bit of deconstruction, it wasn't fully attached. So I might do the same thing on the skirt, but I'm not entirely sure. So we will see when I drape. Okay guys, let's make a skirt. This skirt is shaped towards the knee, which is great, except my mannequin doesn't have any. So cardboard to the rescue. I'm giving her a little extension, so we have something to actually drape against. The key is knowing where the knee sits. So just measure down from the waist and figure out where the knee position is, and then take a knee circumference measurement. And leave a little bit of ease there, because nobody wants a skirt they can't walk in. And then we can just create a tube out of the cardboard and just stick it to the dummy. With the knee situation handled, we can move on. I always drape over a foundation, so I already built a simple basic skirt block that will do double duty as lining later. First order of business: mapping out the base style lines and figuring out the angle for the bubble hem. This skirt also needs a little kick at the hem, which is going to give us that asymmetric bubble shape. And then I simply just slashed into the fabric and started building. Now, some people might argue this is easier done with flat pattern cutting, and honestly, they are probably not wrong, but for me personally, I need to see the shape coming alive in real time. There is something about watching the fabric fall and respond that flat paper just can't give you. You have to find what works for your brain. With the hem shape sorted, I turned it into a pattern, cut it out and attached it to the base skirt. Then I proceeded to hand stitch it onto the skirt while it was still on the dummy. By hand, yes. Deliberately, by choice. Was the machine sitting right there? Yes. Would it have been faster? Yes. Neater? Probably. Also yes. And yet, sometimes you just need the meditative experience of hand stitching. And there is absolutely nothing more to say about it. Before going any further, I wanted to pause and put the shirt from the last episode on the dummy, because this is a full look and these two pieces need to talk to each other. The pleats on the skirt don't exist in isolation, they need to correspond with what's happening on the shirt. So I roughly marked some placement lines on the skirt base, aligning everything up while both pieces were on the dummy. It's a little step, but makes a big difference. And now for the exciting part, the draped layer. I grabbed some calico, marked the grain lines and started draping. The idea behind the skirt's construction is that the drape flows across the thighs and falls naturally into the hem. On the left side though, there is a separate panel with pleats that creates the bubble hem effect. But the clever bit is that in the end, you would not see the rigid separation between these panels, but instead the seam would softly hide between the folds to create a fluid look. Okay guys, so I have draped the front. I am quite happy with it. It's just a few things I want to share before I move on to the back. Okay, so this is the front. It's got this asymmetric bubble hem. Unlike the shirt, if you watched the previous episode, you know that I've done like a few tucks on the peplum, but on the hem of this skirt, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add these few pleats that you can see, and then I'm just going to finish it in a bubble hem. I kind of like this, that it's not going to finish into a seam, but I want the draping to carry on and go into a deconstructed hem. So I do want to include the deconstructed hem on the skirt as well. So this side is going to be a bubble hem pulled in, but on this side is going to be deconstructed and just finished with a pin hem probably. Okay, so let's make the back now. With the front drape sorted, I moved on to the back, following the same construction flow. With a drape design like this, continuity really matters. The back drape needs to feel like it belongs to the same conversation as the front. So I kept the same approach and built it out from there. Okay, so I have draped the back, so let's take a look. Okay, so this is the back now. I don't mind it. I feel maybe those two pleats needs to come like a little bit closer or something. I feel that could happen. It's always tricky to drape over the bum at the back. I might need to adjust the grain line just a tiny bit, because that's my bias mark, and it's not sitting exactly on the bottom. I need to check because I might be able to get this out nicer, but I think I need to stitch a toile and see how it wants to go. The other thing that I noticed is this side. I'm not sure, but I feel that at the moment I have so many pins here, and also this is just pinned together. I want to see how the fabric actually falls when it's stitched and it's not held by pins together. But otherwise, I think this is a good start. So let's go and stitch a mock-up. Before we can stitch a mock-up, we need a pattern, which means it's time to take the drape off the dummy and translate it into something we can actually cut from. I started by marking all the folds, adding notches and letter marks at each fold towards the hem to keep everything organized, because future me will absolutely not remember which fold is which without them. And I always go slow at the unpinning stage. This is not the moment to rush. Every section needs to be marked properly. Excess fabric gets trimmed back, and this is also the point where I start thinking through the construction logic. A little patience here saves a lot of headaches later. Okay, so we have a toile and I'm actually quite happy with it. I don't have like many notes on this, to be honest. There's something going on with the pattern on the side I need to fix, as you can see, because my pleats are not matching for some reason and my hem is not matching either. So something shifted on the pattern that I need to check. The other side is quite okay, I think. Overall, I'm quite happy with it. I like how this flows and then goes into the deconstructed hem. I think that's quite nice. The only thing I want to change is that make this side a little bit shorter, because I feel like it's not as asymmetric as I wanted it to be. I also checked it with the shirt, you know, the shirt that comes with this skirt, and actually it looked very nice, but I'm not going to show you yet. I'm going to show you in the end. After fitting the mock-up, I needed to do a few tweaks, but once the alterations were done, I was ready to cut into the final fabric. But in the meantime, let me tell you, because some of you might not actually know, that I sell sewing patterns for most projects I make over at studioHENNIS.com. And these aren't just your average patterns, they are guided learning projects. Every design comes with detailed instructions, designer notes, and the reasoning behind construction decisions. Not just the how, but the why. Because when you understand how something is built, you gain the power to reimagine it. So if you want to build skills to help you create your own designs without fear, or if you want to support the channel, go and check it out. Every purchase genuinely helps keeps this content going. Link is in the description. Okay, now back to work. After cutting, I also marked all my letter marks that will help me pleat the peplum to create some effortless folds. With everything cut, the skirt started slowly but surely taking shape, which is always that exciting moment where it stops looking like a pile of fabric and starts looking like an actual garment. I built the lining first, before moving on to the draped areas. Now here is where the construction gets a little interesting. This skirt needs a mix of techniques. Open seams on the side seams because of all the pleats that's going on, and the French seam in the areas where the loose hem is, which is a little bit more exposed. I also had regular check-in moments along the way, putting it on the dummy to see how the final fabric was reacting and catching any modifications before they became a problem. And those pleats on the right side at the knee, since they are not sitting in a seam, I had to match up those letter marks from earlier and secure each fold with a short stitch underneath the folds. I still had a few seams to complete, and as with every garment, I needed to think about the order of construction. But finally I got to the point when I could attach the bubble hem on the left side. Before attaching the lining, I decided to have a final checkpoint, and I felt the pleat around the knee still needed some tweaking and redraping. And finally the lining. After all that building and checking and redraping, it was time to bring it all together. Along with attaching the lining, this was also the stage to add the inner hem, the hidden detail that's actually responsible for lifting the bubble hem and giving it that shape. For the inner seam, I went with binding as a finish. It was simply the cleanest option, tidy inside and beautiful on the outside. And finally it was time for the last finishing touch, a double turn pin hem. Also it was time to add a couple of last hand stitches on the hem.